Okay, hey everybody, we are back. This time not as a plot update, but actually just an update of where the plot's going to be. We just got an announcement a couple days ago from Neopets. I actually was not in town at the time, but I did get the news. A friend of mine went ahead and let me know that they did post something for Void Within. So we actually got a really nice post talking about what they're going to be doing. So we now have this was the logo that they teased before. So Void Within, Pimento the Painted is going to be the final chapter of Void Within. This is literally like Arc 3, basically. And that's basically it. We're going to be at the end. So it's going to be starting April 28th. So that is this upcoming Tuesday. And then going all the way up to June 16th. So really it's going to be about a monthish, a month and a little bit more, like a month and a half of basically Void Within, and then that's it. They seem to be pretty firm with the dates. Don't know if they're going to extend it or anything. I'm hearing some rumblings of people kind of complaining, what if they delay it again, whatever. But I think this is it. They seem really confident that this is it. And I'm saying this because all of the promotional material they've shown so far for it has been very detailed. Like this is one of the most detailed logos we've gotten for any plot, like for like in like basically of all Neopets. This is very detailed. Like if you've seen the other, you know what I'm talking about. But they went ahead and posted all of this, just talking a little bit about what's gonna happen. They have very clear dates also as for this. So they're saying it's gonna be posted. The chapter content will be released entirely on Tuesdays, with the final day of each chapter being on the following Monday. So basically, you have a week to do all of the stuff that you want to do. But they're just basically dumping the whole chapter. So they're kind of keeping. It seems like they're keeping with that. They're kind of taking feedback from the previous updates that they've done in the previous arcs, and then kind of incorporating it into this third one. I do like it when they dump the entire plot, because in old ones, those of you who played like some of the older plots, you'll know that some of them did really well where they dump the whole arc, and then others leave you on a cliffhanger, and others leave at like a really weird point. So I'm glad that they're just kind of going with this style. So it's just it's almost like modern comics as opposed to like older style comics, if for lack of a better word, more modern style ones. And this is going to be kind of interesting. This is a new detail. So along with comics and dialogue, we now introduce short stories. In addition to delightful illustrations, each short story also includes a summary for players who don't feel as though they need every detail, but would still like to follow the plot. So basically a nice little like, what did you miss kind of thing, which is really, really nice. I've been seeing that a lot with more modern video games as well. People who want just like a quick summary so they don't have to like watch all the cutscenes. I'm the kind of person who watches every single cutscene, so this isn't really for me. But I'm glad that they have this option too. Okay, and then obviously we're going to have a return of Battle Dome, and they're actually going to try a new NC model as well. So in Battle Dome, we got some tease of the challengers that we're going to be getting, the enemies, and actually we got more pictures of them in the official Instagram. Okay, so this is obviously Drakara. This is like really obviously her. She's got a cool staff. Okay, then we have like these two. So this is clearly a skeleton enemy. Neopets just really likes their skeleton enemies. And we got some sort of bug enemy. And this one here, this is actually what they kind of reiterated it in we're going to see it with Jelly Neo's interview with them. But this is another cool new enemy. Okay. And actually, I think I know what it is. So I'm going to theorize that at the very end when I show you all the Jelly Neo post. So there we go. So that's what they're going to have. And obviously, Battle Dome is going to have like their own stuff going on. They're adding a new feature called the Adventure Pass. So this is like a Battle Pass type thing. You get to pay. It's an NC Mall thing. So you do have to pay with Neo Cash. Everybody will have the quote-unquote beginner's path, which is like the regular normal path. And then they have an expanded hero's journey. So I'm guessing that it probably gives you exclusive rewards from what it sounds. From what we're hearing from this, right? Unlocking structure prize tiers. Okay, so we'll have to see what it is, what it ends up being. And they even tease that perhaps there's going to be a new avatar as well. Okay. And then last thing that they gave us was behind the scenes. So they did a Q&A with Jelly Neo. They're also going to be posting stuff at the Neopian Times. They've been doing this forever, so that's normal. But the cool thing is that we got some concept art, specifically for Nyx, which is really cool. We rarely get Neopets themselves posting concept art. We get to see like kind of what we got. I know some people like some of these other alternate designs for Nyx. I see what they went with, why they went with her current design, because I think her design is unique compared to other NPCs that they've had in the past. Some of these hairstyles, I think they've had NPCs that have hairstyles like them. I think they definitely tried to make her look more like edgy and like spacey. But I think I feel like I've seen some of these hairstyles on some of the other Neopets NPCs. I really like this last design because it has the classic Aisha eyes. But I see why they went with the open eyes look for her, just so she stands out a little bit. Because I think with the closed eyes, they look a little NPC, for lack of a better word. But yeah. And then here we have some versions of her with different colors, if she were to be like painted different colors. I really like the pink one actually, but the pink one looks like there's the one Aisha, she's a like a bounty hunter, I don't remember, but she's also pink too, so that's like, so choosing blue for Nyx is a much better choice here. I can't remember her name though, gosh. All right, and then we have a couple of clothing designs for her. All right, this is probably, you could tell they went with the side part for her design. I really like the mic too. I feel like they should have kept a mic on her. I like little headgear for characters. Okay, and then we have some details about her outfit too. Okay, we can actually see like details on what the void looks like underneath her, like if it didn't have the brace part. We only saw it very briefly in the comic at the beginning, but it's cool to just see her with the like fully like that. Okay, and then NC Mall is going to have some new Void Within items. So, and they're having a sale for that. Okay. And then, of course, they're teasing the Void Within. Our splash art here, obviously, we see Ozzy and Nyx, and they're being puppeted by her. So, I'm not surprised that Nyx is being puppeted. So, yeah. And that's basically it. Yeah. So, that is the post that Neopets got. Now, let's go ahead. We'll jump over to Jelly Neo, and they posted their Q&A with Neopets. I'm going to scroll down a little bit here. So just kind of detailed what happened. Okay, so they're just talking about some of the activities. So we're going to see jigsaw puzzles. We're going to see puzzles again. Same as always. Okay, and then talking about the inspirations that they had. They mentioned a bunch of inspirations that they've had for the story. I did find it interesting that one of the things they wanted to do was to kind of capture the feeling of a Neopets player that hasn't played in a long time and is coming back and realizing, oh wait, there's so many changes, like a fish out of water almost. And that was like one of the big inspirations for Nyx. I think that's kind of interesting there. A lot of people were saying that the gray is making people kind of like, what happened to Neopets, and kind of making them really confused. And I think the gray kind of indirectly does that, you know? Okay, they're mentioning Orion and Nuria as well. Nuria being one of the fairies, if you guys don't remember. So Nuria is the fire fairy. She got mentioned at some point. And then Orion, you know, our boy Orion, right? How they showed up like as elements and how they're going to be incorporated. So it looks like Nuria, they didn't really mention Nuria, but they definitely mentioned Orion. So not sure if she's going to be like even integrated. She hasn't really shown up, so who knows. Let's see, what are they most excited? So they mainly focus on Balia's journey. I'm most excited for that. That's probably my number one interest right now, because she's such an old NPC, and it's cool to see what she did. I've seen a lot of people complain a little bit about Vyra. Actually, Vyra is another one I would add too. What they're going to do with Vyra. How like she acts out of character or whatever. But the thing is, we have so little of her character that it's hard to tell. If you were to ask me before Void Within, like, what is Vyra all about, I'd be like, there's not much I can say. You know, there's not a ton about her. So the fact that we're just getting anything for her. Balia, obviously just getting her backstory and all of that, more than beyond what we got at Neopedia. So we'll see, like, what happens with her at the end. I almost want to, I want to know what happens, like, can she get her wings back? That'd be interesting. Okay. Ozzy's backstory, obviously, we're not surprised. And then Nyx's powers and her connections to the void. Yeah. So, and what does that mean? Okay. So, we have to figure out what happens there. Okay. This question here, this is the interesting one. This is the one that they asked. They asked about the return of a feature that fans haven't seen in years, teased at PAX East. And obviously, there's a lot of people who were just speculating. They said, unfortunately, it is not anything as grand as Neo Homes or Key Quest. We are still a small team, so any features that are large are still beyond our scope internally. Okay, so basically, we are not going to get Neo Homes, we're not going to get Key Quest. Based on just those, I feel like those two are the ones that everybody mentions, but there are a couple other ones, like Habitarium is one that I kind of wish was back, but probably not because I feel like it is at the scale of Key Quest. Another one is what is that game called? Treasure Keepers. Yeah, Treasure Keepers. That one is, I say it's bigger than Key Quest, so I highly doubt they're ever going to do Treasure Keepers. The Treasure Keepers is like a standalone mobile game, honestly. It's bigger than Key Quest. And then what else would I can't. There's so many features that could potentially be added that are old. But at the same time, they're saying it's smaller than Neo Homes and Key Quest. So it's like, well, I'm not sure what it would be. Yeah, because I think Habitarium is pretty big. So I don't know. We'll see. But they just want to say, like, temper yourselves. Like, just don't go too crazy. Okay, which is unfortunate. I know everybody really wants Key Quest back. I personally want Treasure Keepers, but that's just me. Anyways, so, and then they're talking about what do you hope to get, hope players take away from it and all of that. Okay. And then, of course, they actually gave Jello Neo this exclusive teaser image, which we actually got from the Instagram, so it's not that exclusive. But what's cool is that they did mention, let me see if I can find it, they actually mentioned what this enemy is called. They actually listed its name. It is called and let's see if I can find it. I'm gonna pause for a second here, see if I can remember where I found it. Okay, I can't seem to find the exact name because I swear that I read the name of what this is. But it's definitely like a corrupted creature. But I'll go ahead and put my theories here. They actually mentioned it here. So I'm going to go ahead put my theory. So if you guys want to skip that, just skip it. But yeah, I think it's basically the Doggo Fox, but corrupted. So because if you read it, first chapter, episode 3 brings an unnerving new foe to the Battle Dome and once familiar form, twisted into a nearly unrecognizable beast by the miasma of the void. One with far more control over the void essence surrounding it than any shade we've seen before. So yeah, I remember that the Doggo Fox literally got hit by it, like at the very end. And it looks very doggish. It almost looks like a Gellert, actually. But I think it's a Doggo Fox. It just makes the most sense. Remember that it got hit, so there you go. Anyway, so that's the end of that theory. There's one last thing that I did want to mention, and it's this part here, and it was in kind of the post. Kind of just forgot to mention it. That announces the conclusion date of Tuesday, June 16th. However, there will be special bonus content appearing after the plot ends. Okay, if you remember, a while back when they had the update, the roadmap. See if I can find the roadmap here. The roadmap actually mentions that they were gonna have I had to find the post. But basically, one of the previous news updates said that they were gonna continue like after this year, a little bit for Void Within. They had like a fourth kind of arc going on. And it turns out it's not an arc, but actually it looks like they changed it to like a post story thing. I'm hoping it will get concept art because that's the one thing about Neopets that we just don't have a lot of is concept art. We don't have concept art for a lot, if any, of the previous plots. We have so little. So I think it's cool that they're giving us that. And I think it's them trying to be a little bit more transparent because there's been a lot of talk about Neopets not being transparent enough. There's like all of these issues, blah, blah. I honestly, and I think it might just be me being like old Neopets fan, been there for a long time. This is the most transparent they've ever been. And they're genuinely trying to be as transparent as they can. Like I said, this is the first time they've given us this much concept art. This is the first time they've given us these very, trying to really lay down specific dates. And really trying to use these news updates as much as they possibly can. It's like night and day. So I'd say just patience, everyone. And then let's see how what the rest of the plot is going to take us. I honestly don't think this is one of the worst plots either. There's some of the other plots have flaws. Like there's nothing, none of the plots are perfect. But also, they've done a lot worse in before the current, you know, group has been doing them. All I can say is that if you've ever seen the plot before the current group of Neopets, so during the Net Dragon era, oh boy, those weren't plots. Those were not plots. So, anyways, that is it for today. We will meet up on Tuesday to go over the next plot chapter. All right, I'll see you all then.